What is going on, everybody? My name is Conor Law. Welcome to a week of Movie Mondays. This is the Here's Fair podcast, and we're back again talking all the week's movie news, entertainment news, and just generally having a bit of a chit chat about all things film. As always, I'm joined by my partner in crime, Mr. Sean Meehan. Sean, how's it going?
I'm good. I'm like 60% today.
60%. You were very sick on Friday.
Very sick on Friday. Nearly died. That's not true. I shouldn't tell people that.
I wouldn't use it as an opening line.
No. Hello, I'm Sean.
You died on Friday, fair play to you.
And then Saturday, God woke up again.
In fairness now, that is actually how like most health problems are solved. Just go to sleep. Sleep it off.
That's true. There's a lot of trust in going to sleep, isn't there?
Do you remember that time I damaged my brain and I was very sleepy?
I do.
Slept it right off.
just wanted to sleep.
Just wanted to go to sleep so bad.
I did for ages.
Now, you arrived today. And we are in the studio, and you took one look at me and said, "You look like a tired boy."
Yeah.
That was your opening line to me.
It is early in the morning.
It is, and I definitely do look like... It was just one of those days where we think I'm getting your flu, but I'm at the stage right before I get it.
It's about... As soon as I walk out the door today, it's going to hit you.
I'm just going to collapse.
And then you're going to go to work.
Absolutely. That's the plan. So, I was missing last week, so I missed all the Star Wars talk and all that stuff.
I'm sure you were devastated.
Could not give a shit. No. Do you know what? I was away out of the country. I haven't even seen the trailer.
Really?
But I think that might be good. I at the start I was like, I just haven't seen it. And now I'm thinking I might not even watch it because I didn't have to do it for the show.
That's fair. You had nothing in your life required you to watch it.
And I think, does it spoil anything?
Like, in as much as no one knows what the fuck is going on anyway.
In life.
Yeah. So there'll be some cool shots you haven't seen yet.
Oh, I like cool cinematography.
Yeah, you do. Well, there's a series based around it.
Oh, damn. So this week, Sean, I'd said we're going to skip Star Wars because I got the glorious decision to not have to watch it and you still had to watch it.
Yeah, you stealthily organised a holiday
Genius.
around it.
Genius. This week we are starting off the news with another trailer. The bigger movie at Christmas this year.
Oh, of course.
Possibly going to make about $3 billion.
$4 billion.
Jumanji, the next level. The final trailer was released during the week.
Hell yeah, it was.
What are your thoughts, Sean?
My. What
have notes.
A ride we've been on. As we all know, I'm the biggest fan of Jumanji.
What was your favourite part of the last Jumanji?
Oh, where... They're all different characters.
Yeah, of course.
I haven't seen it.
Yeah,
I know it's pretty grand.
The joke is that Sean has seen the Robin Williams one.
Yeah.
And then you looked at me and said, "Isn't this the third one of the Rock ones?" I said, "No, it's only the second." You went, "Oh, I haven't seen any of them."
See, I was thinking of Zathura Space Adventure.
Of course.
We've talked about this before.
Easily mixed up.
Same universe.
Exact same.
So, this is set far after the original film, in that the kids are grown up now.
It's not far after it, because they were kind of grown up in the last one.
How old were they in the last one?
17,
okay.
Maybe. I think they were all clearly just grown adults.
But playing younger.
Playing 17-years.
Right.
Although they might have even been like 16 or 15.
It was Joe Manganiello was playing a 12-year-old.
Yeah, with his big beard.
Yeah. Kept me. Refused to shave
it. He's a character actor.
Character actor Joe Manganiello.
So, I don't know if they're that much older. I'm just assuming they're like a year older than last year. Like, they don't look that much different.
And... Did they get into the game by some kind of circuit board wizardry in the first one?
Oh Lord, I'm now going to explain the plot of the first one. It's a video game.
I got that.
Yeah, and they...
How do they get trapped in it?
They get detention, and then the video game is like covered in cobwebs at the bottom of a box, and they're like...
In the school?
In the school of some kind.
Why do they
Is it in the
school?
It's definitely in the school that they go into the game, but I cannot remember the sequence that leads up to
them. Do they
them.
bring it to the school because it's an old game and they need an old TV or something? And it's a commentary about the funding of education today.
I missed that now, but it might be that.
No,
now that you say that, it's reminded me, yes, this movie was about the team of school.
Excellent. And how it's important, and stay in it.
Yeah, and
or you
education.
might get welcomed to the jungles.
Yeah, that was actually, it was very subtle, but it was there.
Just lying under the surface.
You had to really read into it, but yeah, it was definitely there. No, they get detention and they find the video game. as far as I know, because they were definitely in detention in the school when they went in.
Because they're bad kids?
What were they doing? They were doing some this movie. I literally forgot like the first half an hour. It's just like get them to the game,
right? Okay.
And then it goes. But they end up in the video game and they choose their characters, and it's obviously Jumanji. So I think that the idea is that Jumanji was a board game, and then it morphs into whatever is the most popular.
When it washes up on that beach at the end of the original Jumanji, it's found by Ubisoft.
Right.
And they turn it into an Assassin's Creed style game.
Yeah. And it's very good fighting mechanics. No, like the idea is that Jumanji morphs into whatever is the most popular thing. So it's now like the 90s, so it morphed into like a Nintendo or NES NES game,
Super Nintendo, perhaps.
Nintendo, and so they go into the game, and of course The Rock and Kevin Hart and Jack Black is in it, and Karen Gillan. It's actually a really, really good cast.
They all seem to bounce well off each other.
It's really good in the first one. It's what I will say is that the first one is better than I thought it would be.
Okay, and it's The Rock is playing like a 17-year-old kid. He's
a really nerdy 17-year-old kid.
But he's this big dude in the game.
Yeah, and then the really big dude is playing Kevin Hart.
Who's a small man.
Who's a very small man. The joke is he's small.
I get you.
Yeah.
And Karen Gillan is played by the lady?
She's played by the nerd. She's played by the girl who's like... She's a bit anti-establishment.
Right.
She's a nerd, and she fancies the guy who plays The Rock.
Okay.
And then the Jack Black is played by the Instagram model lady girl who's all about those likes.
Oh, you get you.
Yeah.
That's completely different to Jack Black.
Sounds like a hoot of a time.
I'd love to see him do such an acting role.
So the first one came out and it was actually quite a big success, I think.
I think it made a lot of money.
It made a lot of money, and not only that, but like critically, people were like, "This is probably not the best." And then afterwards, it was like, "It's a fun time."
It's like it probably got largely similar response to the original Jumanji when it came out.
Yeah,
because that is a kids' family movie. Like that's
not though.
That's not. It's not. Yeah. See, it was different back in the day.
Kids were tougher.
Like you could. It sounds terrible to say. You could hurt a kid in a movie.
Oh no!
Like he gets turned into a monkey.
Yeah,
and then he just like is grand.
Yeah, I watched like I think it was on. We haven't even talked about the trailer at all.
Oh, we'll get to that.
We'll get to it. This is a whole pretense to get to it. But I watched Jumanji like I think it was like 3 months ago. It was on the TV.
Yeah,
and I was like, oh, this is a kids movie. We'll turn it on. We'll just watch a few bits. And it was the scene where they're playing the board game and the herd of, is it buffalo or what?
Yeah,
it's true.
I think so.
And they all run through the room, and I was watching it like, this is really tense.
It's fucking terrifying.
Yeah, I was like, I'm tense now, and I'm like, if I was 10, I think I'd be like, what the fuck is going on?
Like Van Pelt.
Yeah, he's real evil.
He's just a murderer. Like he just was, because presumably he has been after Alan this whole time.
Yes.
So he was trying to murder a child. And then a teenager.
Yeah, no.
And then an adult.
But you could hurt kids back then.
You could. No, I'm not saying that.
I thought I'd walk into it.
No, not so. But we also get, in this trailer, we see there's new characters.
There is new characters.
Mr. Daniel DeVito.
Danny DeVito's here to offer us an egg.
And the other man is...
Oh, it's the guy from Lethal Weapon.
Yeah.
Danny Glover?
Danny Glover.
Yeah.
I was going to say Donald Glover.
Yeah, but Danny Glover.
Yeah. Not related, actually.
Not related at all.
Not related at all.
It's very strange.
Is Danny Glover too old for this shit? Do you think he'll say such a line?
I hope that he says that line and then Mel Gibson comes in and just does something mental in the background.
Not even just Mel Gibson, his character.
Not
Riggs.
Not Riggs. Not Riggs.
Not Riggs.
I want Danny Glover to play Murtaugh, but Mel Gibson is still Mel Gibson.
Mel Gibson.
And he's just like, what the fuck is this?
Yeah, and he keeps trying to bring Danny Glover into it, but he just won't let it happen.
Yeah. They keep trying to do a bit, and Danny Glover, he's always following me.
I'm not involved in it.
I'm not too old.
He's not with me.
Just honestly, Mel, go home.
Just starts jumping off buildings. The Rock is great as Danny DeVito.
You think?
I think he's capturing him really well.
I think The Rock it was really good in the first one when he was trying to play that like awkward 17-year-old who's been put in the body of The Rock.
Yeah.
So he's pretending to be confident at all times.
Yeah.
He's like not confident, then he sees his body and he's like, oh, this must be what it's like to be confident. So he's like trying to pretend to be confident throughout the whole thing.
Oh God.
Yeah, I think The Rock is underrated when he doesn't just play The Rock.
Yeah, like he's actually acting here.
He does fall back into playing just The Rock by the end of the first one.
Just a confident man who's good at everything.
He's just The Rock.
Yeah,
which is fair enough.
Why wouldn't you play The Rock?
If you're The Rock, you might as well play The Rock. But yeah, if Danny DeVito as The Rock, I think is it's a unique casting, and then you have Danny Glover play Kevin Hart's accent. I just want to. How long do you think this is going to go on for? His old man accent.
I don't know. I imagine the whole film.
Oh
and
no!
I don't. I like that they're still friends. Like they're still chatting in a way that's like they're still treating each other as the old men that they are.
Okay,
if you get me.
Yeah.
Like they're arguing and they try and jump Springfield Gorge by the looks of it.
Of course.
But I laughed at this trailer and it was what
he's doing the star jumps.
He's doing the star jumps and he's like, I haven't looked like this in never. You've never looked like this. Yeah. Your skin's a different colour.
Yeah.
That was the bit I laughed at, and I really enjoyed that bit in the trailer.
This is coming out at Christmas.
Good time for it to come out.
Is it?
I think so.
Because I have Christmas and then 2 question marks because there's a certain other movie that's coming out at Christmas. Maybe one that you talked about last week?
Gemini Man? Is that getting re-released?
Re-released 2 months later. They're re-releasing it.
It's like, lads, we're going to try. There's a third one
Big
now.
Willie says let's do it again, right? No,
Star Wars is coming out.
Star Wars Episode 9 is coming out this Christmas.
On the same day?
I don't know if it's the same day, but it's definitely within a week of each other.
Right, okay.
Do you think that will kill Jumanji?
I don't... Ooh. Maybe.
Because the first Jumanji came out the Christmas... I don't think it came out when Episode 8 came out. I think it came out...
Christmas in between Star Wars
it was
movies.
in between, and it made a lot of money.
Yeah. Maybe. Well, I don't think... I think they might be expecting this one to have... because it's a sequel to the first Jumanji, Welcome to the Jungle. Because it's a sequel to that, I think they're expecting the audience from that to just transfer over. I don't necessarily think that's going to happen.
I think the first one was like... I'm restraining saying magic in a bottle because that means it's like amazing. I would say like it's something that people weren't expecting to be good.
Yeah.
And it was really good. Can you replicate that again?
I don't think so. Maybe in this one they're leaning back a little bit and they're just being like, we'll just make another one. It'll be grand. Whereas I feel like first one it had more to prove. As a movie that it, like, oh, we can tell a good story
because nobody thought it was going to be good at all.
No, everyone had written it off from when it was announced,
and I remember thinking this is going to be terrible.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we talked about it was going to be shit,
and then I came over going, that was really fun. I had like a nice old time,
and I said the same.
You said something similar after not seeing it.
How do you feel about the Jonas involvement in this film?
He was in the first one.
Was he?
Yeah, he was.
Right.
He was the guy in the 90s. He had the Jumanji the Super Nintendo game.
Cool.
And he got brought into the game.
He's been trapped there for years.
And he was trapped there for years.
Right.
And he was played by Colin Hanks.
Oh.
When he came back.
Oh. Okay.
You were like, okay, good.
I'm on board. The best Hanks brother.
It's actually the best of the Hanks family, I thought. Yeah. He's the best actor in the Hanks family.
The best of the Hanks lineage,
he
really.
Just is. So yeah, Jumanji the next level. I think it's going to make a lot of money. Probably not as much as it probably could have if it had come out. I feel like even last month or the month before.
I feel like even a summer movie.
Maybe. I don't think they want... But do you remember we said how packed this summer was, though? With the Lion King and Aladdin, and then you had Spider-Man.
That's fair. I feel like... I don't know. I feel there's a middle ground somewhere.
There definitely is. I think it'll make a lot of money, and I think it could be decent. It probably won't be as good as the first one.
No. And I feel like as well, if this comes out before Star Wars, it has a fighting chance. If it comes out after Star Wars, like 2 weeks later is Dolittle, which is the next like family fucking entertainment movie.
Yeah.
So I don't know if I think there's a certain window where it'll do grand.
There's a market for... I feel like there's a correlation of those two markets, of the Dr. Dolittle and the Jumanji.
I think so.
Market.
And it's parents bringing their kids, being like, "This'll be fine.
It'd be grand. It's better than Star Wars." So we're moving on to our next piece of news, and that is Pirates of the Caribbean. Also, the music in the Jumanji trailer was unreal.
Oh yeah, Crazy Train.
The two of us were just like bobbing our heads.
Like, lad, this is class.
Pirates of the Caribbean reboot resurfaces with Chernobyl writer attached.
The HBO Chernobyl?
Yes.
Or the actual event Chernobyl?
I hope not the second one. Jesus Christ. They brought him back.
So he deserves a second chance.
You can't say that.
Will I cut that out?
No. No. I want everyone to know what you said. So Pirates of the Caribbean was one of those franchises, Sean, that refused to die.
It did. It kept going longer than anyone wanted, even though the first three were fantastic.
Let's not get into that again. The first one is very good. And it shouldn't come as any surprise that a reboot is in the works.
A reboot?
You've done
I've
that
definitely
before.
said that joke before.
So previously, Deadpool writers Paul Wernick and Rhett Reitz were involved in penning a reboot, but inevitably that sank to the bottom of developmental hell shortly thereafter. Sean.
Sank?
Yeah. Did you have to shout that? I'm right here.
I'm at the bottom of the ocean.
Good
You'll never hear me.
Good stuff. Most people assumed that the reboot was lost at sea, Sean.
Very good.
But the Hollywood Reporter now states that a new reboot is about to set sail with Chernobyl creator Craig Mazin aboard, right?
Right.
And Mazin will be joined on his voyage by Ted Elliott, one of the writers of The Curse of the Black Pearl.
Ted Elliott?
Dead Men's Chest and At World's End and On Stranger Tides. Sorry, he's one of the writers of all four previous.
Oh, so
some good, some bad.
So yeah, one bad, three good.
One good.
Oh no.
Three bad.
Oh, it's the classic fight we have.
However, the big question is whether or not Jack Sparrow will return with Johnny Depp still playing the character.
Surely you don't get Depp back, do
I
you?
think you bring back JD. I think JD's the next big thing in Hollywood. I think this is his next big break.
Like, do you... I don't know. Can you do a Pirates of... You can surely do a Pirates of the Caribbean story without Jack Sparrow. I know Jack Sparrow is a good character. I mean, like, as a... From the first one, say.
Yeah.
We can both... Look.
Look. So you agree with me?
No,
we're on the same level here.
Here's what we're going to say.
Okay.
We both agree the first one is great.
Yes.
What we think after that doesn't matter.
Differentiates. He's on a big wheel. Ooh, a big wheel for 45 minutes.
In that first movie,
yeah,
Jack Sparrow's a great character.
True.
And we see little of him as well.
He's not the main character.
He's not the main character, and that's why he works.
Well, yeah, he is chaos.
Yeah, and he doesn't... The plot just happens to him. He doesn't, like, instigate anything, really.
Yeah, he's not the protagonist. Like, he never does anything proactively.
No,
he's always reactive to everything.
He's along for the ride, and yeah, reacting to things.
Whereas, I think in the later movies, they made the mistake of he's meant to be driving the story, but he's not a reliable narrator for whatever story, because, like, he's a maniac. So
yeah, and like a big part of what people say about Jack Sparrow is that he just looks his way into everything.
Yes,
and that's true, and that only works when he's not the main character. Because if your main character just Mr. Magoo's his way through life,
then there's no stakes at all.
There's no stakes. Yeah, you know he'll get out and he'll be grand. Whereas, and this is why I like the second one, he fucking dies at the end.
It's really funny to watch Shady die.
I'm leaving that in.
That was bad. Jack Sparrow.
No, I'm cutting that bit out.
Yeah, cut the bit that's actually normal.
Cut out the explanation.
I'm going to listen to this episode. It's just going to be me put together going, I think Hitler had a good... Jesus, Connor's got very Nazi.
Jesus, that happened all of a sudden, didn't it? But I think that the Stranger Tides was the fourth one, wasn't it?
Oh, Jesus, I can't remember the fourth one.
It had weird mermaids and shit in it.
Yeah, probably.
But it was just...
Was that the one with him and what's her name?
Yeah, it
as
was.
the lead characters. What's her name?
Penelope Cruz.
Penelope Cruz.
Yeah.
I was thinking Selma Hayek, and I was like, it's not Selma Hayek.
It's not Selma Hayek.
Penelope Cruz, yeah.
It's famed actor Penelope Cruz.
Okay, fair enough.
Penelope Cruz ship.
Oh, good.
Thank you.
Married to Tomedy.
So I think that making a Pirates of the Caribbean movie that's just about pirates, let's just have a great fucking pirate movie. I love pirates.
You love pirates.
I've talked about this before. I just think they're cool.
You're like a child. I just like pirates.
I do like pirates. I like pirates.
Like videos. You wouldn't steal a car.
I might. Don't tell me what I wouldn't do.
Don't tell me ad before every VHS.
Yeah. I am watching Pirates of the Caribbean 4 right now. Don't tell me what I wouldn't do.
So the sources say they aren't clear on Depp's fate, but the likelihood is that there'll have to be some mention of Jack Sparrow because, I mean, he is basically the franchise at this point.
Yeah, what if they just turned him into a legend? And it was like,
he never existed.
Maybe. Or
his stories are like fantasized about.
That's what I'm saying. And like, there's Jack Sparrow's treasure or something, and it's just his fucking hat.
Oh,
you know.
Oh,
and it's one last fucking, like, he's not the protagonist, but there's an adventure around him.
And then you open the treasure, and Johnny Depp stands up and he says, "You have released me back into the world." And then 4 more Jack Sparrow movies.
Oh man, that wouldn't be great, would it? See, the danger is that they try and make a Jack Sparrow character, like another.
Oh, they will. If he's not, there's actually, would you rather Jack Sparrow or a knockoff of Jack Sparrow, which they will definitely do if he is not in this movie?
Yeah, James Hawke.
James Hawke. And he's a bit crazy.
See, what if they did like the absolute like anti-Jack Sparrow, where
I think that's Will Turner.
Kind of, but I'm thinking of like old school pirate, like by the code, just straight down the line. Kind of Barbossa, but not. If you get me.
Okay.
Like entertaining to watch, not Jeffrey Rush.
Yeah, fuck you, Jeffrey Rush.
I don't know much about Jeffrey Rush.
Seems like a nice man.
Yeah, does he?
Let's attack him.
I don't know what's going on. But there are other ways to go in this story without another zany pirate who doesn't give a fuck.
I think add 4 more zany pirates. I haven't had enough hijinks.
Have you played Assassin's Creed 4?
4, no.
It's the pirate one.
It's the pirate one I haven't played.
Right, okay. It's very good.
Is it?
A lot of pirates in it.
Oh.
But they handle just interactions between pirates, and there's a lot of shit going on in the back. Like, they're being hunted, for fuck's sake.
By the good guys, I suppose.
And a buccaneer is a pirate who's loyal, who's now turned to the crown to hunt other pirates. Oh. There's your plot right there.
Oh, that wouldn't be bad.
Jack Sparrow has a son and he becomes a buccaneer.
And then, oh my god.
And he's hunting Will Turner.
That seems like way too good. What about the big wheel, though? How many big wheels is he on?
Big wheelie.
I really, really like wheels.
We can go round and round all day.
No, I'm getting tired of this.
Oh, very good. I spoke first.
Fine, 1-0 you. Yes. So, yeah, Pirates of the Caribbean, they are going to be doing another one. Don't worry, if you were missing your Pirates of the Caribbean 6, what were they on now? 5 or 6?
I think 5 is the last one.
5. Don't worry, it's coming back. We're going to get another one. That's the level of excitement we're at.
I'm cautiously optimistic.
I don't think you should be. Ant-Man 3, officially happening at Marvel. Peyton Reed is also returning to direct the movie.
Cool, it'll be another grand movie.
You think?
Yeah. I saw a thing on, I think it might have been Nando V Movies.
Okay.
And it was how they should handle the next Ant-Man film. And, there's another Ant-Man after Scott Lang. He's irredeemable Ant-Man in the comics. He's Eric O'Grady.
Eric O'Grady?
Yeah.
Is he Irish?
He's redheaded.
Of course.
But I think it's Eric O'Grady is his name. But anyway, there's another Ant-Man. And I'm actually going to link the video in the description because I think it's really good. But you know the way it was called Ant-Man and then Ant-Man and the Wasp?
Yes.
He said that this one should be called Ant-Man and the Wasp and Ant-Man. and it introduces Eric O'Grady as
Oh.
irredeemable Ant-Man.
And what would be the point? Is just that's a way of writing Paul Rudd out of it?
No, it's more of that they have options that they can have Giant Man and Ant-Man, say.
At the same time.
Yeah, or...
One's kicking you in the balls, one's kicking you in the head.
Oh, the tall one is kicking you in the balls.
How would that work?
But he goes into this whole thing about how you introduce... There's a character called MODOK in the comics. He's a big head in a chair.
Good.
And how you introduce him, and it just it brings a lot more comic book to the MCU, if you get me.
Yeah, but like, would you think they will do that, or will they play it safe and just have another Paul Rudd hijinks movie?
See, Paul Rudd hijinks, I have no problem with those.
Paul Rudd is the most lovely man in Hollywood.
Yeah.
We would watch him for another 2 hours doing
Have you
something.
watched Living with Yourself?
No.
It's very good. He
Is
plays
it?
himself twice. And Aisling Bea is also in it.
she?
It's on Netflix. It's very good.
Oh, jeez, fair play to Paul.
Yeah, done well for himself. But I think that I guess it's going to deal with the fallout from the snap and how his daughter is 5 years older now. He's missed 5 years of everything, and it's him reintegrating. Maybe.
Why doesn't he just make... surely they would concentrate on the daughter then. Would she not be old enough to maybe become a superhero herself?
That's true. Cassie Lang does become a superhero.
Does she become the Wasp?
She might do. I don't know the names because it's
Okay.
all... Every Ant-Man character changes name like 40 times.
Okay, that's fair enough.
But
She could necessarily...
and she's of the age now where it's not child endangerment.
What was she, like 17, 18?
I think that, yeah.
So, like, you could have a movie where he's training her to become a hero.
Yeah, because she said in Ant-Man and the Wasp that she wanted to be his partner.
Yes.
You know.
But then what do you do with Jana Van Dyne and all that? And
Um,
the actual Wasp?
see, I think there's room to have other... Like, they can just all be the...
Why doesn't she be
They
Iron
can be
Man?
the Ant family.
Why doesn't she be Iron Man?
She could be. Like, they could set up a Young Avengers with this.
They actually could. Here's a question, randomly. Would you throw Tom Holland into the Young Avengers or leave him in the normal Avengers?
Oh, see, Young Avengers, he would be around people his own age,
Yeah.
and that there's conflict there that
He's much more experienced than them.
He's much more experienced. He's been through more that we know about.
Oh, don't feel so good, Mr. Stark.
Yeah, he
died.
But story-wise, for Peter Parker, it gives conflict because Ned and MJ could get jealous.
Yes.
That, oh, you're spending so much time with your superhero friends. You know, that kind of a way.
Could have a bit of drama.
Could have a bit of drama.
Yes.
See, everyone knows who Spider-Man is now.
That is an issue.
Yeah. Which that's what I'm most excited about, is to see how they deal with that.
We haven't even... This is Ant-Man 3 talk, right?
I know,
Spider-Man
sorry.
talk.
Do you have any more news?
In regards to this, Peyton Reed coming back to direct, he was the director of the first two.
Yeah.
He's a perfectly fine director. I mean,
He's done a good job. The first one was unfairly done by because everyone was waiting for an Edgar Wright Ant-Man.
And I think in the second one he kind of put a bit more of his own slant on it.
Yeah, and I like the second one more, I think.
I think he's a good director, but he's the one I associate the most with, like, the studio handpicked.
Yeah.
Like, as in, it's harder to see his unique stance as it is to say James Gunn, Taika Waititi,
The Russos.
like, they have their own kind of slants, whereas I find with Peyton Reed, he's more by the book.
Yeah.
Let's go A, B, C, D, and you know where it's going. But at the same time, he's really good. Like, if you can do the simple things really well, he's amazing.
Yeah, and to be able to direct Ant-Man is, like, there's a lot of... so say when he's in the small world, he's thinking of how everything looks around him. You know, Peyton Reed is doing that.
Yeah.
And I think I heard somewhere that he's quite involved with the whole process of it. Like, he doesn't just show up on the day and direct.
Like the guy from Dr. Dolittle.
Dolittle.
With his 50 CGI animals.
And he punched through a monitor. All alleged.
All alleged. But if you missed that, 2 weeks ago we covered the director of Dr. Dolittle, the Robert Downey Jr. one.
Yeah.
And he just turned up to set and he was just like, why is there not like 50 polar bears ready to
The
go.
goose isn't in the screen.
Even though all the animals are CGI, he was like me in college when we were doing like movies, just like rock up about 2:30,
Yeah.
see what happens.
Sure, look, I'll press record, lads.
It's not half the battle. So yeah,
Did you ever do the thing in college where
we did the same course. So
we did the same course?
Probably.
We're the same person.
Yes.
But you have the camera and it's recording, but then you try and start recording, so you stop recording, and you just have a load of shots of the in-betweens of scenes.
No. One time, this is completely random, but we shot a whole short film because we had to go and shoot short films all the time.
Yeah.
We shot a whole short film that was like a comedy, but we shot it on like a night filter. But it was during the day.
All right.
And nobody noticed it, right?
Right.
The guy who was doing camera, not the best. And he was just like, and he was just like, looks grand, looks great all day. We were getting we were there for about 9 hours, as you are.
Yeah.
Got a lot of the shots, went back to edit it, threw it in. It looked like dog shit.
I've sand seen this one, have I?
Yeah, there's lines everywhere.
Yeah.
The camera's so confused as to why there's light when it's in a night filter. and we did that, and then we gave it to the lecturer, and he was just like, yeah, you can't have that. That's quite
Do it
bad.
again, lads.
Do it again. We had to shoot the whole thing again.
Another 9 hours. We're trained professionals.
Honestly, we were really good. We failed that.
failed Colin Town.
Got the pass. That's all that mattered.
Oh man, imagine
So Peyton Reed, he's not very good at directing.
That's an actual story from Peyton. We were in college with Peyton Reed. Actually.
Yeah, Peyton, right?
He was the cameraman that
You know
day.
what, Peyton? You need to get a niche, okay? Our thing is bad movies.
Your thing can be, I don't know, maybe great movies.
Yeah, maybe don't shoot in the night filter is my tip, Peyton. Right. We're moving on to our next piece of news.
Cool. Can't wait.
Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2 gets spring 2022 release date.
That's far away, but I'm excited.
Sean, you have finally seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
Yeah.
After months of me saying, Sean, watch Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse.
You bought me the DVD.
For your birthday.
Yeah.
To be like, not even just a nudge, like literally, here it is. You've no excuse.
No excuse. I know you can watch this.
So Sony Pictures Animation announced on Saturday that Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse 2 has gotten a release date and is going to be swinging into theatres in 2022, Sean.
Pretty neat, I would say.
You watched a video from IGN, and it was only like a minute and a half long, and you watched it, and I could just hear the video over it because you were like trying to pick up things,
Yeah.
and you were just like, what is this dynamic between these two people?
It's just there's two people delivering what should be a one-man news report.
Yeah.
And it keeps cutting.
We're about to do a two-man news report, so please don't tag them too much.
But it keeps cutting back to them, and it's just two lads in a room. Like, they needed to set up a camera for that.
They did, yeah. And they put it on night filters. That was a mistake.
Hey!
For God's sake, Peyton! They were talking about how, like, Into the Spider-Verse 2, it's the little teaser they released.
Yeah, it's the Miles Morales Spider-Man suit logo.
Yeah, and then it has all the different other logos that they could possibly do.
It flashes between a load of different versions of it. And they started micro-analysing certain details.
So really, the only thing we need, we didn't really listen to much of that shit.
Yeah.
we were like skipping that in our brain, like, yeah, who cares?
Yeah.
The main thing is that there is a rumour that they will be doing more Miles Moraleses. Rather than, they did a lot of Peter Parkers, and now in the second one they'll do a lot of Miles Moraleses.
Yeah, which makes sense, because if it's a multiverse, they can do whatever they want.
Yeah, there's millions of everyone.
Yeah.
So do whatever you want.
And if a load of Peter Parkers have the spider powers, surely, I mean, by the laws of infinite universes, other Miles Moraleses exist with that power.
Do you think there's another universe where me and you are also having this conversation, but I loved Joker?
I don't think that's possible.
Never. So I was actually going to ask you, I think I'll be sad if Jake Johnson isn't in this one, because I thought he was like the best part of the last movie.
Yeah.
As that Peter Parker,
Peter B. Parker,
who's just down on his luck and just like in sweatpants doing his job.
And it's so good though.
Yeah.
Like, And that's what Peter Parker would do. And we've seen sad Peter Parker before.
Yes.
But I think he'll be in it as more of a mentor kind of thing.
You think?
I think him and Miles will have a way to communicate.
Because they all went home.
They all went back to their universes, yeah. But, like, Peter Parker is a genius. So I'm sure he can... And in that universe, like, I'm sure the Fantastic Four and everything exist. So I'm sure they can come up with an interdimensional phone or some shit that he can talk to him.
And you also have Spider-Gwen.
Spider-Gwen, who they had a real connection.
Was it romantic or was it just friendship?
I think it's either.
Yeah, it's up to your interpretation. It
doesn't really affect the story all that.
But
much.
they had good chemistry as characters, so
yeah, they bounced off each other.
I would like to see them back together.
Spider-Man Noir.
Spider-Man Noir. You have to bring back Nicolas Cage.
Yeah, Spider-Ham.
with his, I wasn't as much of a fan as Spider-Ham.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage was my man only because of the scene with the Rubik's Cube and it's in black and white. Yeah. He's trying to figure it out.
And he takes it with him. He's like, I might not get this yet, but I'll figure it out.
It's black and white. So, Spider-Verse 2, there's like... The thing about this is, like, normally when a sequel gets announced, we're like, where's it going to go?
Yeah.
What's going to happen? Where can they bring the story from here? With this one, with the introduction of the 3 billion zillion universes that they could possibly do, you can just introduce another 20 characters if you wanted, voiced by other people.
Yeah, and just tell whatever story you want.
Yeah. The story of the first one is Miles Morales becoming Spider-Man. So the second one must be...
Yeah, because... spoilers, I guess, but that's the universe where Peter Parker is killed.
Yes.
And someone takes up the mantle.
The perfect Peter Parker. Chris Pine as that Peter Parker is like so Peter Parker.
Yeah, he's the best
version of him ever.
Yeah. And it's the version that Peter B. Parker was.
Yes.
And then became...
He became old. He got divorced from MJ.
Yeah,
and he just got down his luck. Yeah.
But seeing multiple Miles Morales... Well, at the end of the... Yeah, what was I saying about they must have travelled to other universes? At the end of Spider-Verse, we see Oscar Isaac's Spider-Man 2099.
2099, yeah.
Miguel O'Hara.
Yes.
And he is able to just... He jumps into another universe on his own.
Yeah.
So I'm sure maybe that technology, he goes around collecting spider people to help him
in some sort of battle. And see, I think
you could do a bit of Clone Saga, which is all the spider
you love
people.
The Clone Saga.
Look, it has good ideas.
Everyone hates the Clone Saga, other than you.
It's alright.
Every time we've ever brought up Spider-Man, like, they could do the Clone Saga, though.
What? I just say, if anyone does, the first person to do the Clone Saga just gets points for ballsiness.
Just audacity of it all.
It's like, God, you fucking tried it.
You could have a scene instead of, as you said, Miles Morales, he joins Oscar Isaac's 2099, he's going around collecting other Spider-Men to help him with a battle.
Yeah.
And then you have Miles Morales joining another team, and he's like trying to figure out people. But you can just introduce another whole host of characters.
Absolutely, yeah.
Because they absolutely nailed it the first time. And I think the easy option is to bring those people back, because people like them.
Yeah.
And you could do that. Like, Nicolas Cage could easily come back and all that stuff.
Yeah, and those roles are small enough as well. Like, they don't have a huge bearing on Miles Morales' future as Spider-Man.
Yeah, I think the story, if he's already become Spider-Man, then the story can't be that he's becoming Spider-Man again. Like, he's meant to have come into his own in the last movie. You then put him in the second one, as they always do. They always have, like, they go to Brazil, or they go to...
Yeah.
You put him in a different team, which is some other people who are all more experienced than him.
Yeah. Now, I do think he should stay in New York.
You think?
Just for...
2099 New York?
That would be cool to see. I'd be interested in that. But I also think that you're right, like, he can't become Spider-Man again. It needs to be maybe learning to work. Well, he knows how to work as a team.
Because he worked with them, yeah.
Yeah.
So what lessons does he have to learn?
What if he's the leader this time?
That would be good.
What if it's a bunch of Miles Moraleses who are just discovering their powers?
Oh, yeah, a bunch of really inexperienced people, and he's the most experienced.
Yeah, because... It was a thing.
What about Peter Parker, who has just gotten bitten?
That would be cool.
And then you have Miles Morales teaching Peter Parker how to be Spider-Man.
Like, that would be a great way to do it.
Yeah.
And in the you know that scene where they're swinging through the woods away from Doc
Yes.
Ock? Peter B. Parker is animated in 24 frames per second, and Miles Morales is animated in 12 frames per second, so that Miles looks rougher and shakier as Spider-Man.
Yes.
So if you had him animated really smoothly in this one, it's just the animation shows the growth.
And they would do that.
Yeah, oh, they absolutely would.
Like, Into the Spider-Verse is, like, much more smarter than it had to be.
Yeah, and much more smart than we deserved.
Yeah, like, it was so good.
I would like to see Spiders-Man in this.
What's Spiders, man?
It's Spider-Man, but he's just a body collectively made up of thousands of spiders.
Fucking hell. How would he animate that?
Grossly. It would look hideous.
Oh, it would. Was he the villain?
No, he's a good guy.
Oh, he's a good guy.
He's just Spiders-Man.
He's made of spiders.
Made of spiders.
Never trust a man who's made of spiders.
That's the one thing we always say.
One rule. Yeah, I think this having a sequel, it was always going to happen with the success of the first one.
Yeah, and I'm glad they're taking time at it as well.
They didn't just throw it out. Because the first one, why it worked was the animation was so
above
unique.
And beyond.
It was so unique.
Yeah.
That, like, things that you don't have to concentrate on are out of focus. It was basically like a comic book come to life, that they just blurred out the background so you only concentrate on that.
Yeah, this is all that matters.
And it took me 5 minutes to figure it out, because at the start I was like, is this 3D? Have I forgotten my 3D glasses?
Yeah, but it doesn't...
No, but then you finally realise, no, they're just literally pointing your eye towards what they want you to see.
Yeah, and it was animation that we literally never saw before. That's why it won the Oscar, I'm sure.
Oh, absolutely.
It was such a technological achievement, even.
If you haven't seen Spider-Man Into the Spider-Verse, go see it.
Go watch it.
I don't think we even spoiled it. We didn't really spoil what happened.
No, we spoiled the premise.
The premise is that there's a bunch of Spider-Men, they all come to Miles Morales, yeah. And Miles Morales is the most powerful Spider-Man, I think.
He's a different kind of power.
But is he as strong as Peter Parker? Because Peter Parker could, like, hold up several buildings if he wanted.
Peter Parker is as strong as he needs to be in any scenario.
Yeah, in any comic book.
Yeah. See, Miles has more...
other powers. He can turn invisible, he gets electricity.
Yeah. The Venom Blast, I think it's called. But I don't think I don't think you can say who is stronger, because they're both different in different scenarios.
Okay.
You get me?
Because my brain immediately thought they probably made him less strong because they gave him more toys to play with. He has other things.
Yeah, see, Peter Parker has experience, which is the best strength in Marvel.
That's very good. Are you hiring for a job?
I might be. Oh, man. Imagine it. We're the official Marvel podcast now.
Some people have said that we are shills for Marvel.
Well, I'm happy to if they pay us.
If they're going to pay me, I will happily endorse all shite. I'll sell my soul down the river.
Just for a few quid, lads.
I just need a fiver.
Just fiver.
That's how much I respect myself. We're moving on to our next piece of news. A man who respects himself way too much.
Oh.
James Cameron says that he has clashed with the Deadpool director Tim Miller while editing Terminator Dark Fate.
Okay.
Yes.
When he says clashed, does, like, as in ideas?
Well, no, Tim Miller said he didn't want a third Avatar, and James said, no, you're getting 5.
You're fired.
Yeah, imagine they were just like, what do you think of the first Avatar? James Cameron would bring up Avatar in a normal conversation. He's like, what do you think of Avatar? Oh, I've never seen it. Get out.
You disgust me.
So he's revealed that there were some pretty severe differences of opinion while stitching together Terminator Dark Fate.
Okay. One person thought it was not a good movie.
Yes, exactly. Now, Tim Miller was the director of Deadpool.
Yeah.
He's actually very good.
He is.
Like, and I think he's probably underrated.
Yeah, I don't think he has the name recognition of even like a Taika Waititi.
No, because like I said Tim Miller and then I had to say he's the director of Deadpool, so you'd know who he was.
He did good.
Even me, like up until like 2 weeks ago, I read this and I'm kind of like, Tim Miller, who's...
I was like, I know
director,
that name. Yeah.
Deadpool, yeah. Asked if there were disagreements in the edit, Cameron told Cinema Blend, I would say Manny.
Did he say it with a smile on his face, like this is a good thing?
He never said it, we just have the word, so fill in the gaps. What do you think James said, like...
Okay, give me the line.
Were there any disagreements in the edit, James?
Manny.
He's in a submarine. And the blood is still being scrubbed off the walls from those creative battles, he says.
Okay, so it was an actual, like...
Bit more sinister.
I mean, look, fucking props to Tim Miller for fighting his cause against James Cameron.
James Cameron in a Terminator aspect is big.
It is big, and I find it rich that James Cameron is coming in at the edit, because he never showed up on set.
No.
For Dark Fate at all.
Yeah, but he was a producer, wasn't he?
He was a producer, but I don't, like...
Oh no, I'm not saying that as like an excuse. I'm just, like, he's a producer, so he probably wasn't on set, but then at the same time he's like, I'll come in and watch the edit just to make sure they're doing it right.
Yeah, just to, like at the point where no footage can be
changed,
yeah. That's when I'll come in and do my magic.
He says this is a film that was forged in fire. So yeah, but that's the creative process, right?
Oh, you always love to hear about behind the scenes bickering
absolutely.
On a struggling franchise.
Well, they've had two good ones. So Cameron went on to say that it was a rather different experience than the last movie he produced, the sci-fi actioner Alita Battle Angel with Robert Rodriguez. I mean, my work with Robert on Alita was very different. Robert loved the script, loved everything, said, I just want to make this movie. I just want to make the movie the way you see it. I was like, no, you get to make your movie, he said. So,
did Alita do terribly well?
Not really now at all.
Okay.
I had the reverse experience with Tim, which is Tim wanted to make it his movie. Weird. Isn't that weird?
The director wanted to make...
Selfish prick. And I'm like...
It's not your movie, James.
And James said... And I'm like, yeah, but I kind of know a little about this world, Tim. Is exactly...
Also, he's just being a fucking precious little dickhead. I'm really annoyed about this. That's not fair.
So I had the matter and the antimatter version of that procedural experience. The movie arrived in the UK last week, but to mixed reviews. But though it is better reviewed than more recent Terminator movies.
Like,
it's released worldwide. I think it's to yesterday. I think it was released yesterday worldwide. Cameron is currently busy in New Zealand making his Avatar sequel movies. The first is due in 2021.
Yeah, you can have those movies.
So, what are your thoughts on James JC? He's back again in our hearts. We love him.
It's... I can't even like fathom words for this, because he said to Robert Rodriguez, no, listen, go make your movie. Then as soon as it's a franchise that he has any tie to, it's, this isn't about you.
Why didn't he just direct it himself if he wanted to do that?
If he wanted to make his own Terminator movie, he should just fucking make his own Terminator movie.
Like, this is the mistake that studios tend to make.
Yeah.
In that James Cameron obviously has a lot of experience with Terminator.
Yeah.
And he's definitely probably the right brain. If you're going to pick someone's brain, pick his brain. He created the whole thing. Like, let him tell you his opinion. You don't have to go with that.
Yeah.
But...
like, his involvement should have ended after pre-production.
You think? He should have helped drive the story or the plot, and then leave it up to their interpretation of what they want to do with that plot.
Yeah. And I feel as well... Okay, I'm trying to think of a word for this. But I think if Tim Miller signed up for a Terminator movie, he had an idea. If you get me. And that might have been James Cameron's idea.
So stop right there.
Yeah.
It wasn't James Cameron's idea.
But James Cameron just decided to say... And it's too late. If you wanted input on this story, you should have come along in the script writing stage and been...
Everything I hear about James Cameron just makes me like him a little less.
Yeah, this makes him seem like a real petty man.
Because like he's like one of the most famous movie directors of all time.
Yeah,
and like he's really good. When he like Terminator 2 is amazing.
Yeah, Titanic is real good.
Yeah, and so him doing these interviews, and he says like, I tried to help him, but like he wouldn't listen to me. Like,
yeah, and I'm James Cameron. What gets me is the line, I know a little about Terminator.
Yeah.
Like, the last 3 of them were dog shit.
And you said Genesis was the best one ever.
Yeah, so you have lost any right to stand up for this series.
And I don't mind if he thinks, okay, I could do a better movie, then direct it.
Yeah, but don't come in on someone...
You can't do half and half. Like, he's having his cake and eating it. Yeah. He's like, I don't want to direct it in case it's bad, But then now I'm going to be like, you should have done it this way. So then when it is bad, I come out real smart.
Yeah.
You should have listened to me.
And he was like, oh, Tim thought it was his movie. It fucking is.
You know what, Tim Miller comes across really good in this.
Yeah, he does.
Like, it must be so hard to say, no, I think we should do it a different way.
Yeah, it's like, I respect what you've done, but you're wrong.
But I want to do it this way. Not even if it's right, but I feel like this is the best option.
I was hired as a director. I'm being paid as a director.
You were not hired as the director. You didn't want I'm sure James Cameron was offered first choice.
Absolutely.
Do you want to direct this movie? He said no. And at that point, if you say no,
you're out.
You have to just leave it to the guy that you left it to.
And you can come on as a producer.
And you can offer help, but it's not up to him to say yes.
Yeah. I don't think that's...
This is ironically, not to be a Marvel shill, but this reminds me of Iron Man 2, in that, in a very strange, loose way, but it'll make sense in a second, in that, like, Marvel, when they first started, they had these directors, and they thought it might be better if we just tell them what we want the whole way through. And it wasn't until, like, Winter Soldier where they realised, we'll bring in talented people, and we'll give them an outline, and just let them do whatever they want.
Yeah, and they can take the story from A to B, and whatever happens in between, grand.
Yeah, is grand. Whereas this reminds me of older Marvel, Iron Man 2, where they're like, we want to go A, B, C, D, E, F, right? And you have to do this exactly that, otherwise it's wrong.
Yeah, you need to set up these for us.
Why Edgar Wright left? Like, you have no creative process.
Yeah, because presumably, and looking at it in hindsight, is that Ant-Man was very important to Infinity War and Endgame. So I'm sure they wanted to lead into that and lead into the time stuff and the vortex stuff, you know? And Edgar Wright probably just like, yeah, I'll get there, but I'm not making it the star.
And they learned from that mistake because they lost Edgar Wright, who's like one of the best directors in the world. Yeah. And they said, Kevin Feige must have said, okay, never again. I think James Cameron, like, he didn't learn that. He hasn't learned that lesson yet. In that, like, if you're going to do it, just do it yourself. There's no point in hiring someone talented and then telling them what to do. Yeah,
because then they're going to be pissed off doing it, and they're not going to do their work.
Like in Hellboy. Like, do you remember the Hellboy director? They brought him in, and they're like, this is your movie. And then there's a guy from the studio going, you should do this, 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 and this. It's like, well, either you hire me or you don't.
Yeah. Like, do you want to direct this movie, Mr. Studio Man?
Because you can. Like, just hire you instead of me. I don't mind.
And it's the same thing with, like, Justice League and Suicide Squad.
Yeah.
That I'm sure David Ayer had a great idea for what to do. But
sometimes you also hire untalented people.
But see, Suicide Squad was changing the edit.
Yeah,
as well.
It's changed so many times.
Yeah,
so maybe that's not his movie either.
It comes down to what we've always said: is that studio interference generally isn't a good thing.
No,
that if you're trusting a creative person, you should trust them.
And ironically, James Cameron has now become studio interference, rather than James Cameron director.
Yeah, he's not a visionary fucking bad boy anymore. Not that he ever really was a bad boy. But you know what I mean? Like, no one would have made Terminator back in the day.
No, but like, he has a lot of goodwill because of Terminator 1 and 2. Yeah. And especially Terminator 2. Yeah. And that should give him the right to voice his opinion, but it doesn't give Tim Miller, it doesn't mean Tim Miller has to follow it.
He can't pull rank on Tim Miller.
Yeah, exactly, because Tim Miller's the director.
Yeah.
Okay, we're going to finish off this week on another studio interference, director heavy conversation that we'll probably be very uneducated about.
Let's do it.
Star Wars.
What?
Sorry, was there a problem?
Was there something wrong there?
Star Wars. Game of Thrones creators have left after creative differences with the studio. Sean.
Yeah, I've heard various things about this.
David Benioff and D.B. Weiss reportedly left their planned Star Wars trilogy due to creative differences with Lucasfilm.
Okay, is the creative difference that they got offered a load of money by Netflix to do original programming for them?
Oh!
That's what I've been hearing.
Is that what you've been hearing?
Yeah, and I've also heard that they weren't interested because Star Wars fans are toxic. Is what that's a quote that I can't attribute to anywhere, but that's what
just
the headline...
came up with it yourself. That's your opinion.
That's what the headline I saw said.
Right.
But these were names that I think we talked about this last Monday, but putting David Benioff and DB Weiss on anything, maybe 4 years ago, 3 years ago, that was a surefire way to say, oh, this is a good piece of work.
Yes.
But then Game of Thrones season 7 and 8 happened, and people weren't happy with them.
Not the happiest.
No.
Can I throw you another theory? My theory is that they were red hot, they were hired, and then Game of Thrones season 8 happened, and Lucasfilm said, "You're not so hot anymore, are you? Maybe you're not the best people for this job." And then they got a lot of backlash for Game of Thrones.
Yeah.
And they kind of just wanted to take a step out, because if they had Game of Thrones and the Star Wars fandom attacking them simultaneously,
There's no coming back.
That's a lot of attacks.
But like they did an interview recently about Game of Thrones, and they said that they never intended to fully adapt the books because it was too much, and they wanted it to be enjoyable by everyone.
Right.
But reading into it, I saw that their premise for the series would explore the origins of the Jedi. That's a lot of story to tell.
That's a lot.
And simplifying that will please no one. Do you get me?
You go back to the prequels. Just really rattle it through. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, just rush through everything. Like that's not the way people want that story told.
What this also means is that is that the 5th people to leave?
Yeah, could be.
Like you have Colin Trevorrow left.
Yeah.
Josh Trank was left. Garrett Edwards was replaced by screenwriter Tony Gilroy on Rogue One.
Phil Lord and Chris Miller.
Phil Lord and Chris Miller were fired on the production of Solo.
Yeah.
Kathleen Kennedy, who runs Lucasfilm, will just get rid of these people. This is not the first time. Yeah. This is why it stands out to me. Like, this is probably their most high profile axing, but actually Colin Trevorrow is massive as well.
Yeah, and I remember that being news like when it happened.
And the Rian Johnson trilogy was called off. Yeah. And now there's rumours that it could be back on because they need to replace what they were going to do. The slot that has now opened up.
But this was meant to be a TV series as well, if I remember correctly. Like, I don't know if... okay, so Netflix reportedly offered them a 9-figure salary to make original programming.
That's a lot of figures.
It's a lot of figures.
It's more than you need.
And it sounds bad, but a lot of the stuff on Netflix is just grand. Some of it's bad.
Yeah. Well, Casper's on Netflix, so a bit of respect.
Well, I'm sorry about that. But I think that having the general vibe on the internet now is that they are mediocre writers at best.
Oh,
because of like people are saying the best parts of Game of Thrones are the shit that was adapted pretty much directly from the books.
Fair enough.
Which are written great.
Yes.
And that it went downhill as soon as they went off book. And I think that's a fair enough statement to say.
But it also takes a lot of work to get through about the 5 million characters that George R.R. Martin creates
and forgets about himself.
Forgets about who did exist.
But then also recently David Benioff was tied to Gemini Man in a writing role.
Yeah.
Also not very well received for the writing.
Yeah.
And many other reasons.
But do you not think this reflects badly on Lucasfilm and Kathleen Kennedy or on them?
I see, it depends in what way. Like, creative differences is a very broad term.
As the term that they've used repeatedly.
Yeah.
Like, if this was the first, we'd be like, oh, that's a bit weird. Like, they must have just done so bad. This is like the 6th or 7th time this has happened in the past 5 years.
Yes, and there's a number of options here, because number one, like you said, they wanted to control the writers and directors into telling the story that Lucasfilm wanted.
Yes.
Number two, they want to distance themselves from Benioff and Weiss, who aren't fan favourites
at the minute.
Number three is that there was a deal with Netflix and Lucasfilm wanted exclusive work from them, and so they highly suggested they leave.
See, it could be any of those things, like,
or all of them.
It could be a mixture of all of them that coming into play. Like, the idea that this is another one that's left, just, I think there has to be something going on behind the scenes at Lucasfilm that we don't know about.
Yeah, maybe like
All these people have left, like all these talented people, like other, like not even voice.
Yeah, leave them out of it for the minute, but look at the list of people that are gone.
Phil Lord and Chris Miller did Spider-Verse, and they did 21 Jump Street and all that. Now there were rumours that they were very nervous on Solo, and they were doing like lots of takes for no reason.
Yeah, but when you think of them coming from the Jump Street movies, where I'm sure a lot of it is just lads say something funny in front of the camera.
Yeah. But we know that they're talented.
Yeah.
And I remember there was a few months or maybe a year where we were like, I was thinking maybe they're not that good. Like maybe if they got rid of, but if Star Wars got rid of them, they must not be that great.
But if Star Wars will get rid of anyone,
like Colin Trevorrow did all the Jurassic World movies.
Yeah, those are good for what they are.
And Colin Trevorrow has done some good movies.
Yeah.
So I mean,
Josh Trank did Chronicle.
But he's also a dickhead, though.
He is a dickhead, but Chronicle's great.
I forgave him. I forgave them for Josh Trank, because I was kind of like, for everything I've heard about Josh Trank is just like, he's not really a nice man. Yeah. I'm like, okay, fair enough. But like, there has been talented people that they've been gotten rid of, which just kind of says, like, is the Star Wars, is it an untenable position to be in there to do a director for something?
Maybe. Like, I think it might be fear on Lucasfilm's part in that when it comes to Star Wars, they only want a sure thing.
Yeah.
Like,
there's very few sure things in Hollywood, like sure directors.
And if you make something that is on paper perfect, it's probably going to be by the book, and there'll be no, I want to say, the words come to mind is devotion, but no, like, absolute love for it.
Solo.
It'll just be grand, you know? Whereas, because on paper, Solo is about one of the most popular characters of all time,
and it's a good romp.
It's a good romp, good fan appeal, tied into an existing Star Wars universe. Star Wars is the biggest franchise of all time. It was grand.
Yeah,
you know,
because as you said, they wrote it to be good, or they wrote it to be safe.
Yeah, like, the broader you cast your net, the less people find it like a niche, or like they really love it. Like, Jojo Rabbit is marketed to a smaller audience.
Very small.
But the people that like it are going to fucking love it.
Yes.
Do you get me?
Yeah.
Star Wars needs a bit of... Because that's why Star Wars was...
It's fear.
It's
like,
fear.
It's genuine, which is ironic, as you said, because Star Wars 1977 is the most crazy fucking idea anyone's ever come up with.
Yeah, and it was, like, laughed at when it was announced.
And
so here's a fucking space story.
Who cares?
Yeah.
But like, the idea now that they've gone so far the other way that they're just kind of like, we can't go wrong.
Yeah.
So they're like, they're just so afraid to do anything that's outside the box for Star Wars.
Yeah, they want to fit into a formula, which maybe they'll go like Marvel did and they'll realise what's going on.
They're all owned by the same company, so really, like, if you just talk to Kevin Feige for 10 minutes, he'll be like, just hire talented people and just let them go.
Yeah, just trust them.
Trust them that they're going to do so. The only sure thing in Hollywood, I think, like, sure, is the Russo brothers at the minute. Or...
Yeah, based on track records.
Like, they don't mess up.
Or they haven't yet.
They haven't yet. That's the thing. Everybody has one mess up in them. And
yeah, absolutely.
Does that ruin their career?
And
no.
maybe the Russos got it out of the way early.
Yeah.
You know? But I also feel we should say, Kathleen Kennedy always gets brought up in this. But I don't know that she has that decision. I think there's a committee of people who are either highly pressuring her or just making the decisions instead.
Okay.
And those people are just looking at statistics and numbers.
And they're very afraid that any statistic will go down.
Yeah.
Which is ironic because they're overseeing possibly the least popular few years of Star Wars for a long time.
Yeah, like the magic is gone in a lot of ways.
Like, people are kind of like, okay, we're kind of sick of it. Because they try to do that every single year. They were going to release 2.
Yeah.
Like Marvel. And very quickly people are like, no, don't do that.
Yeah. And like the Marvel 2-a-year thing, it still has the ability to be tiring. And people
absolutely.
Get bored of it. And you'll get... Maybe one of them will be good and one of them will be grand.
Yeah, you never get really 2 really good ones.
2 smashes.
Yeah.
Like, we had... Endgame and Far From Home was this year, wasn't it?
Yes.
So I think those are 2
and Captain Marvel.
And Captain Marvel. Those are 3 very good movies. But Endgame is still... Clearly it got more focus and more marketing. which I think is fair enough.
You have to choose one to be your big.
Yeah, you can. Right now, I don't think anyone can put out 3 movies a year and have them all be stellar.
No, very few studios can, and Star Wars are just trying to put one out.
Yeah, and Star Wars is a narrower. The stories they've gotten so far, they're narrower plot lines.
But I think they've narrowed it themselves, because there is so many story possibilities with Star Wars. As you said, like the Star of the Jedis, or you go. Like, you can go hundreds of different places. There's like millions of comic books.
Yeah, and that's why like the TV series is pretty good, because it's just them and they go around and they have fucking adventures, and it's not all about light side versus dark. There's one fucking bad guy and one good guy left.
Jedis can't have sex.
Jedis can't have sex, lads, except most of them do. Most of them do.
The second was just like sadness. Most of them do.
Yoda is a fiend.
He's a maniac with that stick.
Oh
Maniac.
God, where's the stick go?
Oh, I don't know.
Wherever you want.
He's a fucking sicko.
We just wrote your next movie, Star Wars.
Pay us. Just, you know, no, I was going to say Yoda walks in with a brothel like there was a really old man, then starts doing all those flips.
Oh God.
Oh Jesus, fair play to him.
So nimble.
He's young and hip.
He's got deft hands.
Jesus Christ. Yeah, so David Benioff and D.B. Wise have left Star Wars and Lucasfilm. It's all up in the air now what they're going to do. As you said, there's rumours that they have joined Netflix or something else.
Yeah.
There's also rumours that Rian Johnson's trilogy is now going to replace that trilogy that they were going to do.
Okay.
See, it is all over the place. So
it's without it's a ship without a captain at the minute, it seems.
Yeah.
Which isn't great.
But they've got so many captains.
They've had so many captains.
That's true, yes. They said that the Variety recently wrote about how Benioff and Weiss had ambitious plans and a new direction for Star Wars. So
ambitious.
Never want to be ambitious with that studio. They wanted their works to exist apart from the Skywalker family saga that comprised the franchise's primary 9-film series.
On board with that.
That's a rookie mistake. You can't go away from the Skywalkers.
How will we sell Darth Vader merch?
The Star Wars period the pair had intended to explore was how the Jedi came to exist, as you said. Mm-hmm. They would have made a trilogy on the subject matter working as a prequel.
To everything.
A prequel to everything.
See, like... That's far enough removed that it's fine. And also the start of the Jedi it's fucking weird. So I think surely you would do it in generations, I would say. Like the first movie would be the very, very start. Second movie they start making the school or the order, and then the third movie is them joining the Senate or whatever. You know, becoming government.
And then Liam Neeson is there.
Absolutely. I gave Connor a little point.
A little point to say, you're bang on. Liam Neeson is there.
You've fucking done it, boy.
Midichlorians are back. I just think this might... we should keep an eye on this, because Lucasfilm, this is like 5 or 6 times.
Yeah.
They really just need to trust a human.
Trust one human. And
that we exist. You just need to trust one human that they are talented enough. Find someone talented. If you're not sure about it, give them a fucking Disney Plus show. Yeah. Put whatever you want on streaming and see what sticks. Like, who cares? Who cares? They're paying for Marvel anyway. Yeah. That's actually the end of Movie Mondays this week, Sean. Quite a newsy week. It was very newsy. Not very many bits. Not many bits. But you're not very funny anyway, so not don't today anyway. I'm at 60%. Exactly. Look, what can you do? Do you want to take us out, Sean? Yeah, thanks everyone very much for listening to this episode of Movie Mondays. We'll be back on Wednesday with an episode of Weird News Wednesday, Friday with Hero Zero, and next Monday with another episode of Movie Mondays. Thank you to everyone who supports us over on Patreon. That's patreon.com/Heroes for Hire podcast. If you'd like to donate there's a link in the description. Don't feel any pressure to donate. It's just a way to help the show out. If the best way that you could ever help the show out is by telling one human being that we exist. Very good.
and trusting one human being to direct Star Wars.
That's another way you could support our show.
We will benefit from it in kind.
Kathleen Kennedy's my mother.
We are on all of the social media. Twitter at Heroes for Hire Pod, Instagram Heroes for Hire Podcast, Facebook Heroes for Hire Podcast, or you can shoot us an email, heroesforhire_@outlook.com. That's all in the description. If whatever podcast platform you're listening on, we would really appreciate a review. It helps get us up the rankings and get us in front of more listeners.
Yeah, the rankings are pretty cool.
It's really nice to see.
Yeah, it's really cool. It's I can't go around naming names, but it's nice numbers, like. You know what I mean?
Lads, it's gotten to the point now.
It's too high.
It's kind of impressive that we can say it to people.
It's
like
too
that.
high.
Yeah, stop listening. That one person you told that we exist, kill him.
Make sure the message never gets to another household.
Because it's going to spread, lads.
Oh, we can't have this. We're like gonorrhea.
We're the gonorrhea of pods.
Put that in our bio. So I've been Conor Lawler.
I've been Sean Mead.
I'll see you next week, guys.
Bye.
Bye.